It's episode 297 of The Platformers, a show about games and nerd culture, and I am your lovely host, Brian Barnett.
I am Chris Cornelis von Valencius of the Rogue Trainer dynasty of the von Valencius, also Delphi.
I'm Lucas White, and I'm a piece of shit who bought V-Bucks today.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
How could you?
You have caved. You are playing the footnote.
I'm fork knifing with the kids.
Well, on that note, I'm going to start it by a confession time. I still have never played Fortnite. I'm like probably the only person on the planet at this point.
I've only played a couple of games, although I did do the oh my god, back in this is like, man, maybe 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There was a kind of funny stream where Greg and Colin had been mocking League of Legends for ages. And then they actually got Colin to sit down and play it. And he played one game and won and then retired. And that's what I did with Fortnite. That's what I did with Fortnite. I went in.
Play a single game. It's like, I'm undefeated. I'm the champion.
I retired undefeated, you know. And then I dipped back in only to buy an outfit. And then I went out. So I got my Gohan outfit, but my perfect record is still there. But it's also largely there because like I had a group of friends who played Fortnite, and then they all either moved to different stuff or just got different teams that they ran with because they wanted to do like build or whatever. Zero build has me tantalized because the building was always the part that I was just absolute trash at. And so when people would like build a log cabin in the middle of a fight, I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do about this?
Yeah.
I can't compete with this.
Pretty much the same for me. Like I poked at it when it was like, you know, first like a huge thing, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then years later, I'm friends with people who are into it, and also zero build, poke 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, they put the turtles in, and they were actually really, really good skins. So I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you showed those, and those are really cool, interesting designs. Like, I love how like Donatello's got headphones on, and then he's also got like a data pad on his arm and stuff like that. It's very, very cool. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
And the April redesign, of course.
So cool.
Very
it's
good.
Like
You both were fawning over this before the show went live.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, you had to out us? Come on, Chris.
I had to.
Be a homie.
April's getting, you know, her moment under the spotlight lately. Like, she was playable in Shredder's Revenge and really good in that.
She's stupid good in that. She's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
She has a rocket launcher, guys. Like, what?
Right?
Rocket launcher.
She's a newscaster.
Can't go wrong.
Why does she have a rocket launcher?
She's got the Chun-Li gimmick, the down-up
Yes.
kicks.
Yes. Yeah, she's great. She's great.
Yeah. And they kind of got like a similar vibe in Fortnite. She's got like the classic yellow jumpsuit, but it's like tied around her waist. So she's got like a cool t-shirt, and I think she's got like other gimmicks, and she has a boom microphone for her pickaxe, and it's just like really cool, like nostalgic but new design at the same time.
Nice. She's got that. She's got that Sin Kisuke glow up with still got the jacket, but it's just around the waist this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I dig it.
You love to see it.
You do indeed.
Weird modes like the racing game and the music rhythm game that are developed by Psionics and Harmonix respectively, which is like just weird.
It's wild. It's a crazy world we live in.
Yeah. They're
It's
good though.
so weird.
Yeah.
Like, Fortnite in general is just that weird kind of conglomeration of this is the most, you know, commercial marketed thing in the history of video games at this point. Like, it's just ridiculous in how it is. And yet, as a result, it has such pull for people who are genuinely good and creative and passionate about what they do to make some really cool shit with it. So it's the most conflicting thing ever for somebody like me who is like, you know, fuck the whole corporatism, but also, goddamn, I respect the hustle. So it's wild.
It's crazy because since these announcements, it's kind of, you know, say what you will about Ernest Cline, but like it is kind of growing into like an almost Oasis style Ready Player One type thing, where it's like, I actually could kind of see in the next like 10 to 20 years, like, oh, like maybe people are teaching classes in here, or maybe there are like museums that are set up for different eras of things or something, you know. It's,
Well, after they did the big concert in there, it's,
there was the Martin Luther King Jr. exhibit thing.
I can't believe I forgot about that. I cannot believe I forgot.
Yeah, that was the thing that happened.
I was gonna say there's a chart, right?
It's
a line graph.
The duality of man, the Martin Luther King Jr. exhibit, and the somehow Palpatine has returned event, and the Travis Scott concert, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Oh my god,
it's so wild. It's just bizarre.
It's terrible and kind of good at the same time.
Yeah,
I guess is kind of where you can look at it.
Yeah, you're gonna take the good with the bad and call it out where the bad is, so that we can stop that shit.
Like the Ollivander line from Harry Potter. After all, he who must not be named did great things. Terrible, yes, terrible, but great.
It's true.
Oh man, I think another thing about the turtle skins being like cool original designs is it's like. I look at Fortnite and I see like especially all the like superheroes and stuff come in, and it's just like it's like stock photos turned into 3D models. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then here it's like, oh, they actually let like their artists cook a little bit.
Yeah.
Which like is I think worth supporting.
Because Superman's in it, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to remember if he was actually like the
from Invincible that's the main one that's been gotten recent attention.
Yeah, tons of Marvel and DC, a few different anime.
Oh, it's like okay,
All
so it's like
in it. So you know, Superman's in it.
Yeah, it's like
the better Superman.
It's like New 52 or what was after New 52?
Oh gosh, I should know the All-Star. Was that it?
No, because it's the one where he's got like the kind of like the back of his hand, like part of it is covered, but he also has the underwear on the outside, which like there was a while where he didn't have underwear, he just had like a belt, which I actually like that design, but it's like a little bit too metallic for my tastes. But you know, my opinions. Oh, they had black suit Superman as well. That's cool. But yeah, I also
Street Fighter characters were in there. That was weird.
Yeah.
Ryu with the gun.
I'm Ryu. I'm walking the path to strength. Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance, but not for me. God, that's really dumb. I love it.
There's a lot of just. It's so dumb, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
That's the summary of that game and its ecosystem, I feel like.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But
yeah, it'd have to be to have the constant attention and money and player base, right? Like that's what I have to keep saying. It's like I haven't played it again, but it's like it must be pretty good. Or
yeah, it's like fun and it's also like absurdly accessible in a way like a lot of video games aren't.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like why it's so hit with kids because it's like everyone's got a device that can play it and it's free, and it's just like. It's got that sort of like hangout space vibe to it. It's just like a perfect storm of,
yeah. Nice. Also now, we were talking about this before the show. You can also finally recreate the ball and cell. So you can get your basketball emotes and get your perfect cell skins and just dunk on them.
Oh my god! As
they say. I shouldn't say this within the first like 9 minutes of a YouTube video where this is going, but like, it's like that meme where people are like shaking hands and saying, it's like two people who are notoriously assholes shaking hands. And then the caption is like, fuck them kids. You love it. Ball and cell. He is truly perfect.
Ball.
Indeed.
Can't be perfect if you don't dunk on the kids.
It's very true. All right, what do we want to talk about next? I got some stuff.
What do we got?
We can shoot through real quick. Actually, yeah. What do we have? I have the brand new DLC for Vampire Survivors. I also beat Alan Wake and am a ways into, I think I'm like 6 hours into Alan Wake 2. And then I've been playing Diablo 4, and I just had a preview go up on IGN. So we can talk about any one of those.
I read the preview, by the way, this morning. So
oh, thank you.
Yes,
it's me. Oh, go ahead.
After you.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm curious about the Vampire Survivor stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the Among Us crossover, right?
Yes.
There's more to it, though, right?
I'm sure there is more to it. There's a whole bunch of characters and a new stage and all the usual stuff.
Yes. There is some new stuff. So I'm playing the Emergency Meeting DLC is what it's called. And so I played and reviewed Tides of Fiscari, which was to my knowledge, the last DLC update for Vampire Survivors. There might have been one before that. There's another one, but I don't know if it was before or after that. But
I haven't played that one, but I did play the first one, so yeah, it would be something different.
Yeah. So I have played a bit of that. I think there are like 9 new DLC characters that come along with it, which are various.
Here it is, Legacy of the Moonspell. That's what the first one was. Sorry.
Yeah. So there are like 9 new characters. There's a bunch of new powers. There is a new map. Also, an interesting thing, and I don't know if this was. I feel like this is included in just this update, but it might be this might be a correct me if I'm wrong situation. But after I completed some of the stuff in the original version, because this was the first time that I was playing on Xbox, because I've previously reviewed on Steam and Switch. So I had to start all over again. So I did I think 1 or 2. I think I did 2 levels. And then some stuff popped up in my menu, and it was adventure mode. And adventure mode has its own separate progression from the base game. So you start with nothing, and your currency is like blue-green. It's like aqua colored or something, just to differentiate it so you know where you're at. It's got its own set of unlocks and stuff. And it does take place on the starship on the lava level one from Among Us. So you can still use your baseline characters in there, but you have to unlock them first. But you start with a basic kind of the red outfitted Among Us person. And you start with, I want to say, I forget what the power-up is actually called, but it's like a megaphone, and it does a shockwave out in front of you, and then as you upgrade it, it also does a little shockwave behind you as well. And when you upgrade it fully and evolve it, which you do by picking up little tiny Among Us crewmate followers that will randomly do little things for you. So they'll be kind of like minions, almost like you're playing a necromancer in Diablo or something. They'll just go around, and occasionally they'll just attack or something. And they'll do different things depending on which color of a one that you pick up. And each one of those corresponds to one of the Among Us main powers. And when you get those maximized, they will evolve each other. Each of the little crewmates only needs to be leveled up 3 times. And then the main abilities are I think 8 or 9, very similar to the base game. Yeah. So when you level up the megaphone, it just goes constantly, and it's just this shockwave, and it blasts people away as well. So it's all the abilities. I have to say, all the abilities from this DLC are super fun. They're really, really fun, and when they're evolved, they are out of control. There's one of them where you do a mini game where every once in a while it will pop up 9 blue squares, you have to type in on the keypad and stuff. And they'll have numbers, and you need to walk over those numbers in the order that they're listed. And if you do, jets come down from the top of the screen and just blast everything on the screen with fire for 20 seconds. It's crazy. There's also one of the powers you can get is venting, and it pops down these little vents on the ground. And if something walks over them, they get sucked down into it. and it does such massive damage that it basically is an instant kill, which is really awesome. And when you evolve that, it picks a random side of the screen and it opens the airlock, and just everybody gets sucked out, and they instantly die. And it's just an out of control thing. There's also there's one where you know the cutscene where you kill somebody and you like open your mouth and like stick your tongue like a spear through them. So you get that ability. When you're walking around, the tongue will just shoot out and like stab a bunch of people. And when you evolve that, I believe that turns into the like electricity connecting game where like it will just stretch a line across, and once it connects, it's just electrified, and anything that crosses that line takes damage. And then they keep crossing over and over again until it's just like this web across the screen that's constantly doing damage to everybody. So they're all just incredibly powerful, really fun abilities that have tons of character. And you're just wandering around fighting off these crazy, like, infected crewmates and stuff. And, you know,
as you typically do.
Yeah, imposters and stuff. So, yeah, so that's just kind of like a taste of what's going on over there. I think it's fantastic. I really, really like it. The last one was
Survivors in general is just great. So,
yeah.
You know, it's just, it's cocaine, really. Let's be honest. It's video game cocaine.
It is drugs.
It's ridiculous.
It sounds like they really put a lot into adapting Among Us into
I respect that
language. Yeah,
they did a lot. The last DLC was great also, the Tides of the Foscari, and they're both hella cheap. Like I think it's literally like $1.50 or $2 or $2.50 or something.
Yeah,
like that. It's not more than
something
$2.50. Like the update is like very, very affordable.
And the base game itself is like the best value, like $3 to $5 you can spend on Steam.
Yeah, it's
like just straight up. The only thing you can get better than that for that price is Bastion on sale. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And it is just as fantastic as it ever was. The thing that they did with Tides of the Foscari was they introduced one really massive map that you would explore, and it would be maze-like, and you would progress with one of 3 classes that were based off of like classic D&D stuff, like where you'd have like a wizard, a barbarian, and a ranger or something. And you would have to solve different puzzles to get further and unlock things. I found that a little too fidgety because there's a coffin and there's this barrier between you and the coffin, and I just could not for the life of me figure out how to like get past it. And it was telling me that I had to like upgrade my arrows to a certain type, but the image was like rainbow arrows, and I'm like, I don't really understand what you want me to do with this. And you know, it's Vampire Survivors, which isn't necessarily a game I go to try to like figure stuff out. It's a game I go to just kind of like turn my brain off and watch the pretty colors go around. And this is definitely...
the next 30 minutes, everything is just going to explode in front of me. Thank you.
Yes. And this is definitely back along those lines. Which like, I definitely don't want to like dissuade them from getting creative, because I do think that Tides was a cool DLC thing. And I do think that the popularity of it, the affordability of it, and how inexpensive the DLC is as well means that they really do have a lot of freedom to play around in the space. And I definitely want them to feel free to do that. But, I mean, it's really silly Among Us Vampire Survivors. So, like, come on. I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to sing its praises, and that's just what it's going to be.
It is what it is, and what it is
glorious.
A damn good time by the sound of it. So
now the door's open.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it.
They need to get a Castlevania crossover, or alternatively anything but Castlevania, because that would be
yeah. If they never got, they should get a Dead Cells crossover instead.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's 5D chess for you.
Yeah. Well, you know me. I'm not crazy. I'm just ahead of the curve.
I believe you. Billions wouldn't.
All right. Let's see what else we want to get into. Lucas, did you want to talk about something?
Yeah. do y'all have any curiosity about Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora?
Morbid curiosity.
I
Okay.
hear very mixed, but mostly leaning positive from most people I've seen or read about it. Aside from you, you were very, very blunt in the early days, and so I need to know. I'm sorry to make you suffer, but I need to know.
Okay.
My
So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the impression that I have gotten. I find it very interesting that your perception, apart from Lucas, has been largely positive, because the refrain that I have heard, the scuttlebutt that has made its way to me, is that it's kind of just poor man's Far Cry. Which
Yeah. But like that in itself is still positive enough. It's like, yeah, it's fine, you know. But that was a Far Cry,
and I know that
Lucas said.
And I know that, like, on its own, like, Far Cry has kind of fallen out of favor with a lot of people. Like, I started with the game. I don't know, what is it with me and, like, popular franchises that were really great in the third one, but I didn't start till the fourth one? This happened with Fallout and with Far Cry. Like, everybody's like, the third one's the best, and then I start with the fourth one and enjoyed it. I don't know. There's some.
I don't think anybody says the third one is the best as far as Fallout goes. Just
I was gonna say,
unless you mean the third one by the actual people who do it, in which case that's New Vegas.
Okay,
yeah, that's the best one.
I've heard split stuff. I've heard some people say New Vegas is not that great and 3 is the best, and I've heard some people say 3 is not that great and New Vegas is the best. It seems to me that, like, maybe there's some camps
who are like Fallout 2. And it was all downhill.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like,
the original is still my favorite.
I'm like, Fallout Tactics is the one. You know what I mean? Because I played that one.
That's the outlier one.
I mean, I think the first games I played in the series were actually not Fallout 4. That was just my first Bethesda Fallout game. My first ones were Fallout Tactics and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, I think, which are the old CRPGs.
Yeah. And basically the spin-offs that just weren't as good as the original 2. So
yeah, well, you know, what can I can't help what I have access to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe I could have, but I didn't. So, you know, what are you gonna do about it?
What can you do?
But anyways, without further ado, Lucas, tell us about what's going on with all the unobtainium that we're trying to obtain.
I can't believe they actually called it that.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, I mean, I think the Far Cry thing is pretty apt. It's made by, what is it, Massive? The folks who do the Division,
so,
at least the same building, or however it works in Ubisoft land. But it is very, very derivative of the Far Cry formula. Big open world. You have like your sort of sets of repeating objectives. So it's like you find this thing, and that's how you get your next ability, and there's like X number of those around, and it's like here's these kinds of outposts, and here's those kinds of outposts, and that sort of thing. Lots and lots and lots and lots of just interacting with plants and stuff. So like grabbing your ingredients, and then turning those ingredients into like ammo or gear or food. And combat usually revolving around clearing those outposts where you're fighting like dudes and robots. And that's pretty much it. Like you get some different mounts after a while. And your sort of like traversal changes slightly as you get abilities.
What kind of actual combat abilities and weaponry and such do you have typically?
So you have a bow, and you've got a gun, and you've got this like lacrosse stick thing that lobs mines.
They're playing High Ally and on Pandora?
Yeah, basically.
Apparently.
Sick.
But like none of it, it's very like weightless. There's not a lot of like sense of like impact when you hit something. Like oh yeah, you shot an arrow at the robot thing and its health meter went down, but otherwise like the game doesn't really Like,
Doesn't have much kinetic feedback in that regard.
yeah, thank you. And a lot of the times it was just like, all right, I'm just gonna switch to my machine gun and just shoot everything and move on. And my biggest problem with it was actually like just getting around the environment. The prevailing narrative is that it's like it's the world of Pandora come to life, and you can run around in it, and it's gorgeous. And like, yes, the visuals are very high quality. There's lots of colors, but this game wants me to be a like botanist slash blacksmith slash horticulturalist or whatever. But it's
Just the general gather all the random stuff,
yeah,
but not
this
really connect with it.
full of plants that don't have any sort of like, real life parallels. It's a jungle, so it's dense. And there's plants that you can pick up, and then there's plants you can interact with, plants that are dangerous, plants that don't do anything, that just have like codex information. And the game is just like, go out in this jungle and collect all the stuff you need. But there's no intuitive connection between like, oh, this does this. You just have to, I guess, memorize, but the vegetation's so dense. And I found myself just sort of like bumbling around using my, avatar vision to just hold the button, have the screen get all blurry, and have the little focusy thing, and just be like, okay.
Batman detective vision kicks in as usual, yeah.
That plant, and that plant are the ones I can interact with. That one's useful. That one doesn't do anything. This one hurts me if I get too close. So it just felt like the whole time I was just like grabbing crap that had no sort of like, again, like intuitive way to like discern
There
it.
wasn't really any connection between why it looked and did what it did for what it was used for. It's just, here is a currency that by any other metric.
Yeah, because they're all just like alien plants. And like some of them, it's like, okay, this one's like a sphere, so maybe that one will pop when I get next to it. But even then, you'd only be right like a third of the time. And so I never felt comfortable just like running through, unless I was just like, I'm just going to run and grab stuff without paying attention and sort it out later. And then you have all these ingredients and you bring them to your crafting or whatever, and it's just like I'm just clicking through a menu and making my numbers go up. And just that's just not enough for me to have a good time.
That's fair. That's completely fair. And there was no like narrative hook or anything particularly that really did it for you, or?
No, not really. Like the setup is almost kind of interesting because it's like this other organization aside from the one that's like in the movies is like they basically kidnap a bunch of children, take out a village, and they're like, we're gonna raise you like good, proper white human Christian people, and that's how we're gonna strip mine Pandora of its resources by assimilation. But then like the guy in charge of that,
so they're basically coming in like conquistadors.
Yeah. But they're led by like a CEO guy. He's like the head of Unity, John Riccatello or something like that.
John Riccatello.
He's like, do what I say or I'll shoot you, like right off the bat. And it's just like really generic in that way. And there's some stuff about like reconnecting with your roots and rediscovering the Navi way and all that stuff. And I think there's probably value in that, especially if it mirrors like your real life experience. But I don't know, Avatar always has
an artillery strike.
Yeah, and it's like your Avatar weirds me out in general because it has this sort of vibe of like being about indigenous cultures, but like if like fed through like the Smurfs, you know what I mean? It just cheapens it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
It's such
it's
a
like
such an
having
insipid
the
allegory that it doesn't mean anything.
and it's like you can't do it with like, you know, interesting or more grounded real world allegories. They have to be like cartoon characters that are being oppressed. And
Well, the problem is if they did it with real world things, then they would actually be accused of plagiarizing Dances with Wolves. So, you know.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like a lot of people are like, it's Far Cry Primal but in Avatar world, and that's great. And like, yeah, there's like no real glaring technical issues or anything, and the double jump you get really sucks. It's like insultingly bad. But like you got this cool like charge jump by default, so you can like kind of like scale up big trees and run across like vines and roots and stuff, and like it's fast and that's kind of cool, but it just doesn't come together in any way that distracts me from the fact that I'm just bumbling around and collecting shit that I don't care about and have no reason to care about. So I can
Just
craft
incredibly
my
gamey,
gear.
I guess.
Yeah. It is just like very, very like conveyor belt video game from a AAA company. Even by like Ubisoft standards, like I feel like I can play like Far Cry Primal and like have a decent time. Because it feels like something more, I don't know, like human beings made it, I guess. And this just feels like a Disney robot like vomited it out onto a conveyor belt. And, I was just like,
Just generic Ubisoft game at this point. The longer they go on, every game just blurs. And I feel like that's just where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Siggy Liam in the chat says, so mechanically fine, but lacking a soul. Unfortunately, that seems to fall to the theme park fallacy of thinking open world is indicative of a good concept, as well as a lack of ensuring the player can rely on an intuitive recognition of the environment. And, quote, CEO/corporate/settlers bad, a narrative that unfortunately fails to do what games like Oddworld did by ensuring the evils of industrialism are secondary to a character's personal journey. A very well thought out and well said comment.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, it's really hard to take the like CEO's bad thing seriously when it's just like a maniac waving a gun around, but then like the in-game text is like, no, he's got charisma and he's like a tech genius guy, businessman, and everyone likes him. It's like, no, he just like you can't just tell me and expect me to be like, oh yeah.
Trying to say that there's two sides to it when only presenting one very obvious, very shallow, very predictable, generic. We've seen this 1,000 times. You're not saying anything new. You're not doing anything new with it.
Exactly. That's pretty much that game. It's so much so like it feels easy to just be like it's generic. It's color by numbers. It doesn't do anything new. But it's like it's so aggressively that it just like it's an active detriment at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's a certain degree to which like you really don't need to reinvent the wheel to do something great. But if you're not going to reinvent the wheel, you really need to not just make the first wheel that was made and then stop there. But yeah, I mean, we hold up a lot of games that like excel in one way or another. And a lot of times those games have real problems. You know, we were just talking about Baldur's Gate 3, before we started recording and talking about how like, Kris and I just don't really have the drive to finish it.
Unfortunately.
Because even though it is, inspired in a lot of the ways that people have held up. I mean, it won fucking Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
It swept pretty much everywhere and everything as much as it could.
And I think that is a testament to the high highs, but man, the drawbacks are serious. And
yeah, everyone who gives it that kind of praise, I'm just like, how much of Act 3 have you played?
yeah,
Seriously. How much of Act 3 have you played? And then if the answer is all of it, then how much have you gone back to Act 3 and tried something different and found out that you can't? That there are so many ways in which they force you to do a certain thing, and the freedom just gets pulled away, and you don't realize it because the first time through you're like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll just follow this or whatever. But if you try and push back against it, the whole thing collapses completely in the third act, and it's ridiculous.
That's a
like
bummer.
if you don't believe me, try not siding with the Emperor when he's first introduced. Try it. Me and my friends did that in multiplayer, and it's like it sells, no, you have to do this like 4 or 5 times before it says fine, okay, game over. Even though later on you can turn against him, but in that moment, no, can't do it. You just get to get a hard game over. Screw you.
It's like Dragon Quest. It was like the bad guy's like, "Will you join me?" Yes, no.
yeah.
Haha, I wasn't really going to offer you that anyway. I was just saying, fight. At least in Dragon Quest, it's honest about it.
Right. The king's like, "Please help me." Yes, no, no. But surely you must help me. Yes, no, no. But surely.
Yeah.
Now must is
yeah.
There you go.
I think that's literally how 3D Game Heroes starts. Like the king asks you to do something for him, and he gives you the option yes, no, and he's like, but come on, man. But come on, man. And he just kind of keeps doing that until that.
Shout out to Golden Sun, which gives you that yes, no option. Then if you say no, you get an early game over.
Yeah,
they actually accounted for that. It's like, well, good job.
Yeah, it's pretty
good.
Good.
Idiot.
Mom Jum in the chat says for Baldur's Gate 3, just imagine the final boss's mother brain and see if any Super Metroid good vibes carry over. It's a good strategy for me. It's a good strategy for me.
It's a good strat, but it lacks it because you don't have the baby coming in and doing the thing at that point to really, drive home everything
the emotional moment. One of the
resonance,
one of the most in a game that doesn't have any text like the only text is in the intro and in the outro where it says see you next mission. That's literally all there is in the entire game, and that has such emotional resonance. It's just ridiculous.
But it's verbal storytelling and just show don't tell, and incredible atmosphere and emotion in how it's done.
It's amazing how far that'll carry you.
Yeah, it really does.
Samus Returns gets the 2 thumbs down from me.
Big old poop.
Yeah, I like it, but
like way to miss the point on every level.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, it's sad, and I did not intend to hijack your Avatar discussion with talk of Baldur's Gate 3.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's I think it's worth like talking about that kind of stuff because we're in such a like unstable era of games right now, and it still seems like the prevailing thing for a lot of these big publishers is like just dump millions of dollars into this open world game and throw it out there, and people will buy it because we say so.
Yeah, or just like literally. I mean, you talk about
it's just all that.
Right now, the last time I checked, Hogwarts Legacy was the #1 selling game of the year, which is just open world attached to an IP, which is exactly what this is. And it's like, that some people have talked about like, oh, well, why didn't, if this game was like that popular or whatever, like, why didn't it get any nominations? And it's like, well, it's because it's just, it's a good open world game, but it's not unremarkable in any way. Like, it doesn't do it like, and that is, we talk a lot about like having big problems, but also like death by 1,000 cuts or life by 1,000 cuts, where like the game, it doesn't do like, that's kind of Sea of Stars for me, where it's like
some is greater than its parts. Yeah.
Exactly. Where it's like Sea of Stars doesn't really do anything exceptionally well. It just does a lot of things better than usual. Like it is and above average
thought into how to do the little things well.
Yeah, it's like above average in like almost every aspect. So like it's not really exceptional. It's just like you're not gonna find something better in like all of these areas. There's usually some drawback. And in that one, it was like, well, the writing wasn't super strong, but like the plot kind of made up, like the plot being interesting made up for the fact that the writing was a little bit weaker. So it was like overall, like the story as a whole was like elevated, at least to me. Like, your mileage may vary, but and then we've got stuff like that. But Death by a Thousand Cuts doesn't necessarily need to be bad things about a game. It can just be bland things about a game too. Like if every aspect of your game or most aspects of it are just incredibly generic or unremarkable, that's going to carry through to the feeling that the player gets when they're in that space. And the longer you're in that space, the more true that's going to be. At which point being an open world game is going to really count against you. One of the reasons why Elden Ring and Legend of Zelda are games that are held up as being like some of the pinnacle of gaming is because they kept that fascination. They kept that interest. They kept that wonder about what was going to happen around the next corner all the time. And if you never feel that, being in an open world is just going to be taxing to you. But
it's just lists and lists of things to do, checklists, objective markers.
Yeah.
Fill the bar, 20 of X.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know if any of that rings true to you, Lucas, about like how you feel, but that's just kind of,
Definitely.
That's our read from it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. And conversely,
I never have to play it again. So
no,
and that's the best part of it, when you can put it down forever.
And you don't have to talk about it again either.
There's one little bit of Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
Like we talk about Harry Potter too, and that was so frustrating on kind of our side of the work equation, because it was like gotta pump out the content for the Wizard game and all these like annoying internal
SEO demands it.
Yeah. In this game, it was like that was starting to ramp up, or at least I had a feeling it was, because everyone was like talking about like, oh, did you get Avatar? Did you get Avatar? Oh, we got openings for free. And then like right before it came out, it just went, phew, and nobody said anything about that game all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, the tale for Hogwarts Legacy has been ridiculously long, and like I was on guides for that game for a long time, because it's just like that game is enormous. Like, say what you will about it, that game is massive, and there are tons of areas, and there is tons of stuff to do. So it was just like I was playing that game for a long time to write guides, and like the degree to which people want to engage with that discussion, like that's in this industry, and it is. I imagine it's a lot like political journalists or pundits or things like that. It's like there's stuff that you don't want to look at or spend time with, but it's your job, and it's like there's a degree to which like not being attached to an outlet or something like that like can free you up to vote with your wallet, or I mean, not really vote with your wallet, but like you get what I'm saying. Like there's
you can pick and choose. I didn't have to play Hogwarts because I'm not, I'm currently not with an outlet, so I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, as an aside, trans rights are human rights, and fuck J.K. Rowling, has to be said.
Absolutely, absolutely. We love our trans friends, and yeah, well, never mind. I'm not gonna talk about that. There was some stuff. There was some stuff that I wanted to do with that game. Like I know some trans people in the industry that I wanted to talk about, and we couldn't sync up the scheduling. I was gonna have one of them on to talk about the game actually, and I was like, man, this is gonna be like good because we can actually have a positive, constructive discussion about
it without just slinging hate on both sides.
Yeah. because there is one of the things that I feel about it is having played it extensively, I do think that it, Portkey did kind of get a raw deal because they did seemingly, from my perspective, and this might not be other people's perspective, and that's totally fine. They tried to do something about it. They tried to run their own narrative that was counter to what JK was putting forward. And I am fascinated.
I respect the attempt. And
I am fascinated if we will ever know what the conversations behind the scenes looked like for that. And if they had to get if there was editorial oversight or if there was any sort of discussion had. or things like that. Anyways, I hope that stories will come out about this game
I would
someday.
love to hear that. That's more interesting to me than anything about actually playing that game.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But anyways.
Yeah. It was just the, like, regardless of that stuff, it was like the frustration of, like, you know, this has to be covered no matter what.
Yeah.
And like the sort of callousness from the people upstairs versus the like, oh, well, fuck, the traffic's good. Yeah, and it sure would have been great if the traffic was not good.
Yeah.
In this case, it was like, man, I really don't like this game, but I sure do see a lot of like interest in SEO content.
Yeah.
It'll probably be another thing I can't escape.
Yeah.
And then, wow, it died.
And then the universe backs you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not to talk about just controversy after controversy after controversy, but like it's kind of like what happened after like the internal to not get to, for people who listen to this show for an escape, to not get too gratuitous about it. The internal problems that ABK was experiencing and how some people in prominent positions at sites around the internet were like, we're not going to cover Call of Duty. We're not going to cover Blizzard games until this stuff is addressed. And then that just never materialized. That like, you know, that resolution just never happened.
I still do my best to at least have, you know, a forward disclaimer of here is all that happened. Here is all that shit.
Yeah.
We must not, you know, let it not be accountable.
Yeah.
Especially given that I'm about to say something positive about the creatives and what they have done after the fact. So
yeah,
keep that in mind as you read.
And also, like any other people group, like the developers at Activision Blizzard King or at Portkey Games or at, you know, whoever, you know, whatever development team made Pandora, like they're not a monolith. Like there are people there who are very passionate about making positive change in different things. There are people who are the other way, you know, there's all sorts of stuff like that. So like
the creatives and the corporates.
Yeah. And there will be
some kind of varying degree between all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And there will be developers who will tell you like, hey, like we made this and, you know, we are proud of the work that we did. And yes, we made it in a hostile work environment, but also like whatever, like we don't have any issues with you like supporting the studio. And there are other people who are like, yeah, boycott it or whatever. And so like, it's just, people are just going to have different opinions on it. And it's complicated, but
at the end of the day, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. Do what helps you sleep at night, because that's the best you can possibly do, and support the best actions and group causes that you can where possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
What it simply has to boil down to.
And also, if you're gonna try to make the best change that you can, make sure you vote and vote in your local elections and stuff as well.
It's compulsory in Australia. Hooray!
Yay!
Yeah, there you go.
Chris doesn't have a choice. So when they were like, oh God, what was it? What was that old campaign that they did? It wasn't Rock the Vote, and was it Vote or Die?
Was there like the South Park one?
Yeah, Vote or Die, or was it like I felt like it was like a skateboarding thing.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar.
Yeah,
Rock the Vote was also a thing.
Hold on. Vote.
Yeah, I don't know the origin of them, but when you say Vote or Die, I just think of the South Park episode. So,
Citizen Change.
Yeah, yeah.
Political service group. Founded in 2004 by musician P. Diddy and backed by Mary J. Blige, Mariah Carey, and 50 Cent. The stated aim was to get young people and minorities to vote. A band named Citizen Change from Galveston, Texas. That's literally right down the road from me.
Oh, yeah.
Played music together and all that sort of. Wow. Okay, well there you go. There's your little educational
moment. A little bit of trivia for the day.
Yeah.
Adapted from the Join or Die well-known cartoon by Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. Siggy Liam in chat says, democracy or else, which I think is pretty good.
I love democracy.
Vote or 50 Cent will come to your house and beat your
I love the Republic. Personally. Is that what you were doing, Chris?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. Thank you.
I love the Republic. And the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire. Anyways.
Yay!
So this is how democracy dies. God, fucking.
You had to, didn't you? Yeah.
Somehow Palpatine has been right. Palpatine, that's the second Palpatine reference this episode. I'll have you remember. We did a Fortnite one too.
And I did tell you to settle down, Palpatine, in a recent episode. So, you know,
you
this just keeps happening.
Somehow Palpatine has been
Somehow
referenced.
Palpatine has returned to the platformers.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
Disgusting. And I apologize for referencing Palpatine so much.
No, it's fine.
Particularly when he was, for the longest time, nobody knew what his fucking name was. He was just the Emperor, which I thought was better because I think Palpatine's kind of a dumb. It reminds me of Ovaltine. Every time I hear it, that's what it reminds me of, and I can't get that out of my head.
Well, now I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head.
Somehow, Ovaltine has returned.
Was that why he had
Emperor
me hooked up so much
Ovaltine,
shit?
yep.
He had
Yes,
a really
yes.
bad fiber problem.
Siggy Leo says, do you know his first name, though? Yes, it's Sheev, which is so skeevy. Yeah, Sheev Palpatine.
SHEEV.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Skooma Ovaltine.
Oh,
The king of the Smurfs.
The king of the Smurfs.
I don't know how we got here anymore.
I don't know, but I'm
okay.
pretty sure that's going to be the name of the episode.
I think we're at this point. Yeah.
But yeah, man, what a good episode. And this is even apart from the fact that, dude, I didn't necessarily want to like force feed the discussion about the Baldur's Gate 3 comment about post Act 2 or whatever when we were talking about indigenous peoples by way of the Smurfs, because I didn't necessarily want to talk about that, but now I feel like I have to.
Wow. Wow, we have gone off the rails.
We really
Please
have.
Talk, say it.
So,
Go for it.
So we were talking earlier about how Kris and I just weren't motivated. I desperately want to finish Baldur's Gate 3. I really do. I really want to finish it. And every time I go back into the game, I'll fight a fight. I'll do like 20 minutes of a battle, and then somebody will die, and then I'll reload, and I'm like, I feel like this isn't respecting my time, and it's just not pulling me forward through it. And then I believe it was Lucas who was talking about the game, like what? The game not horny enough for you? And, well, I have had a thing with Lae'zel, and now I've had a thing with Karlach, and I'm feeling pretty good, and I finished that, and it feels like the relationship is kind of done, and so I feel like it's gotta just be the post-nut clarity that's keeping me from it.
That's it. That was the one.
November ended.
November is over, guys.
It's over.
It is time for horny December. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Degenerate December.
Degen December? That's very good. I like that a lot.
Yo.
Double D's. Hey, you guys know what double D's mean, right? It's Degen December, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Totally what it means.
God. So we can just put down post-nut clarity is keeping me from beating anything but my meat.
beating.
No, I'm just kidding. Keeping me from beating Baldur's Gate 3. I want to. The camera is so bad, you guys. It's so bad. I can't take it anymore. I may actually just sprint past all the stuff I did because I lost 10 hours to try to go back and fix what I screwed up, and I fixed it, and then I fixed it even more, and I made it even better. So now I'm in a really good position to move through Act 2, which was incredibly annoying, but I feel like if I do anything over again, I'm just going to lose my shit. So I may just need
Crank
to like
the difficulty down and just sprint through. Like, just at least see it, right?
Yeah. I will probably do that. I will either do. I'm either going to give that a legit attempt after I finish Alan Wake. I finish Alan Wake and Jedi Survivor, or I don't think there's anything else that I need to get to. But we also don't have tons of time, and I still have to do like most of Act 2 and then all of Act 3, which is going to take a minute. So, I don't know.
I feel if you've completely fallen off and just struggled to even get back into the game, that in itself is telling, right?
I feel like one thing is like...
If you have to force yourself to finish it, that's probably not a good indicator of, its overall quality and...
Oh, no, it's definitely not going to be my game of the year, for sure. Like, unless it just totally, I'm making a lot of references, which in and of itself is a very Family Guy thing, but I think about my wife and I use this line a lot. There's an episode where Peter's supposed to throw a party for Stewie, I think, and he's just sitting on the front porch, and Brian walks out and says, Peter, if you're going to pull a party out of your ass, you might want to stand up, which is something we say about a lot of things. And I kind of feel that way about Baldur's Gate 3. Like, if you're going to pull Goaty out of your ass, like, you need to fucking stand up. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like I feel like I've generally come around to, like, Kris, your stance, which is that it's just got its best foot forward and Act 1 is the best. Because
we spent all that time playtesting it and making sure it was there.
Yeah.
The rest, they didn't. And it shows, because if you start trying to, deviate too much, then the Larian encounters kick in and just go, no, you can't.
And actually, you know what? I feel like that starts in Act 2. Because
it definitely. Like, I consider the Larian encounter to be the one with Isabel. Like, that's because it's like to clarify, what I consider a Larian encounter is one where it's like, if you just stumble into it or just go following it, it's a gotcha moment, because there is no way you are going to reliably beat this on your first go without a lot of luck, because it's just the odds are stacked against you and it kind of needs special prep and such, so you'll probably have to load or suffer a bad consequence. And it's like, all right, and there's a lot more of those as the game goes through, but the first one is early in Act 2, where it's like, yeah, if you're not prepared for the encounter after talking to Isabel, then you're in trouble. So yeah, it does kick in from there, and then there's a few more of that, and then Act 3 is where just a lot of the freedom just is squandered, unfortunately. And a lot more problems come out, but I'll get to those eventually, and you'll get to them maybe, so we'll see.
Yeah, I want to do it just because, like, and obviously I'm aware that I don't owe this game anything, but it is the sequel to my favorite game ever, and...
But I'd rather play the sequel. It's like, people saying it's best game of the year. I'm like, it's not even the best Baldur's Gate game, you know?
Yeah, no, not even close. Not even close. However, I do think that there are, like, we're talking about exceptional things. I do think the characterization and the squad is really awesome. Like, I will say, it's taken some time for me to kind of like acknowledge this, because I feel like the sense of immediacy, like there is recency bias, but there's also the opposite of that, where it's like you haven't had time to marinate on something for a while, and kind of like stew in the juices of the experience.
The juices.
But like it's taken me a while to realize that, like, I really like certain of these characters. Like, these are some of my favorite companions in any game, I think. Some of them. And, like, I'm excited to see where Shadowheart goes, because I've been, like, ride or die Shadowheart since, like, the beginning. Even though I'm like, I know she's got problems. Because, like, man, you're like really, but I've been, it's like the whole I can fix her thing. Like, I've been talking her through some stuff and talking her out of stuff. I'm hella charismatic. Like, it's one of my best features. But like, Karlach is awesome. Like, Will is awesome.
Karlach is straight up awesome.
Yeah. With Karlach, no notes.
There's nothing to add. Karlach is just the best. Right?
She's awesome.
She's all accept
awesome. That. I think Will is great. I think Gale sucks, but I like that he sucks. Like,
he sucks in an interesting way, and there is a story and character for all of it there, which is fun to play, and I dig him. So
it's like he and Asterion are both like, these are two assholes and they're assholes in different ways, but like, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like them as much, like, as the other characters, you know, that we've talked about. But, like, I like that they're around because you gotta have some of those. You gotta have your Edwins. You know what I mean? Like, and now there's no Edwin in this game, but, you know.
No.
But
no one is at the level of Edwin Odessiron.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, you know. We got
like,
good companions.
Yeah, ultimately what I have to say is the companions overall are very good, but there is no individual that is nearly as good as Chihiro in Baldur's Gate 2, not even Chihiro in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
So that's where it ultimately boils.
Yeah. But I think one of the biggest things about this is it's not necessarily that I don't want to spend time with it. It's that I realize the amount of time that I'm spending with it is taking it away from other stuff that I want to spend more time with, which I'm going to get to shortly with Alan Wake, because that is foremost in my mind right now, which we're going to get to. And then also I'm not super, it is one of these things where it's like kind of comfort food. Jedi Survivor is not like exceptional for me, but it is very fun so far. And like, I am having a good time with it. So like, I don't really know if I super care to get through that before Game of the Year, because the only game that I'm playing right now that I have not finished yet that I think even has a chance at getting Game of the Year is Alan Wake 2. But so like, I kind of don't care if I get to the other ones, because I'm like, it's not going to change my answer really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm
the odds of it making an impact in the last act to dethrone, you know,
or even the last half of Act 2. Like, you know, even once I go to the towers, like, because I'm like, I still haven't gone into like the dark shadow areas. Like I'm just outside of the town, and I think I did the thing.
You haven't gone to the towers itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I still have a chunk of Act 2 left, and I haven't gone to, remember the thing we were talking about, the thing where they were like warning me off of going in there, but you guys were like, you need to go in there. I haven't done that either. So
you
like,
do have to go in there, but you go there last. Like you go to the towers and then you do that thing, because afterwards it basically progresses the timeline. So
Gotcha. So yeah, so like, I do want to get to that, but like, I have a priority, and that priority is like way more important to me than Baldur's Gate 3. And after that, then I guess I'll kind of suss out where my emotions are. If I feel like going with Jedi Survivor just for fun, then I will. And otherwise, I'll probably just go head down on Baldur's Gate 3, and that will just be what I'm doing. But yeah.
In Jedi Survivor, did you get Crossguard yet?
Crossguard. I don't think so. I'm pretty early.
Okay.
I have 3 stances, and I have the grappling hook. I have, I'm on the second planet.
Okay.
So
Crossguard is the two-handed style.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you get that, oof, it's so sick.
It's good?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I stuck with that for the rest of the game when I got it.
I've been doing dual wield because typically I had this thing, this thing that came to my mind back when Persona 4 Arena was like first came out, where I kind of realized that Yosuke is like very me. He wears his hair like I wore it when I was in high school and college. He's always got headphones on like me, and he's holding 2 kunai that are like roughly the same size as drumsticks. And I just kind of realized, oh, I should be playing dual wield characters in games, because I've been a drummer for like 30 years. So I was just like, if I was actually going to be in one of these fantasy worlds, like I should lean into something that I'm good at. Like if I was going to do like an isekai type thing of like, oh, I'm creating myself in Baldur's Gate, I should dual wield, and I should dual wield like short swords or something. And so like, I've kind of tried to like lean into that. And, so as soon as I got like the dual wield style in Jedi Survivor, I was like, all right, here we go. We swanging. Oh, I missed a comment in here. Siggy Liam said, as we've said, games like Baldur's Gate 3 fall under the same curtain as MMORPGs, where the sheer amount of time investment required to obtain a proper review is too significant to give a reliable statement by the time typical due dates come through. Ain't that the truth, man?
This is why I intend to do a WoW Dragonflight review now that it's finished, now that it's out, now that we are preparing for the next one, you know?
Well, and also
all 3 raid tiers and everything.
And also, this is like it's not like it's still getting major patches. Like there was a major patch not that long ago that did something with like one of the recruitable characters that I missed or something. Where like they were going to be
added a new epilogue in BG3, so yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's still a part of me that's like, I still kind of feel like this game's not done yet.
Yeah.
You know?
No, wait for the director's cut, the enhanced edition, whatever it is at this point, it feels like.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know how, if there will be one, there probably will be one. I don't know if there'll be DLC. There'll probably be DLC. But, like, it just didn't feel like it was finished. It really didn't. And I don't think the patches have honestly helped in the best ways. But what do I know?
Yeah. Sigilium goes on to say, and furthermore, you sure as Sheogorath can't claim a goatee when it got released in August. It has potential, absolutely. The voice actors and characterization of the party carries a lot, but there isn't enough time to properly ruminate on its placement. Which is just one of the several reasons why we don't do our Game of the Year episode until January. Like, I would love, and it's probably going to be mid to late January. One, that's because we need to have enough time to play all the stuff that we want to play. Nobody on this show is required to play everything. That's just absurd. Like, we also have to live.
We're not always
make
interested
jobs.
in it. As we said last week, it's like, we have to accept that we will not be able to play everything. That's just life in video games.
But I want people to have the time to play the stuff that actually means something to them. And
I could play more Slay the Princess.
Yeah. And also
they announced they're doing an update for that as well, like a director's cut kind of thing. So more
they are
for that coming soon. Yeah.
Do you pay for it, or is it a free update?
No idea. I think it's free though.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I'm excited to check that out. But also, like, there have been several years with the cutoff in I forget when the cutoff is for nominations for the Game Awards. It's early.
It's very early.
It's like September or October, right?
I'm pretty sure, like, if your game comes out in like December at all, it's just
you shunt it to the next year. Which is what happened for Smash Bros. Ultimate, which was inevitable, right? Like, that came out in December, and it's like, how can you not have this as a contender for something?
Yeah,
at any time, you know.
But then a game from 2023 be included in the 2024, like, it's just, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Silly,
And I definitely understand why people do it, because a lot of people in the games industry go on vacation in December. And they take their big end of the year, like, vacations, like I'm doing right now. Because, like, basically, like, most of the people are not in the IGN offices for like half of the month, and then they come back after the new year, and then they get back at it. But I think that's the perfect time to be playing these games and catch up, and then actually talk about it when you've had time to think. I don't know. Call me crazy. But
I should notice this reminds me of the like all the year in review stuff that's been coming out, like from your platforms. Nintendo has like its charts and stuff, and it completely has December chopped off. So it's like, man.
Wild.
So December doesn't exist.
Yeah, so like this sure would look different if it included the like 90 hours of Dragon Quest Monsters I just played. That just doesn't count, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess, fuck you, P5 Tactica, etc.
Does it include December 2022?
That's a great question.
Because if it doesn't, then that means December doesn't exist on their Wrapped, and it never gets counted.
Nintendo canceled Christmas.
Thank fuck. I'm glad somebody did. Sorry, what?
Sure. I'm going to pull that up real quick while you guys.
Yeah. So...
Although, how further have you gotten in Dragon Quest Monsters? You said like 90 hours or so?
Yeah, I beat the hell out of it. Finished the story, beat the post-game thing, beat the other post-game thing. I closed the book.
Post-game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started it. I don't think I love it quite as much as you do. I can definitely see the appeal though, and I will definitely be chipping away at it. But yeah, I played it for like maybe 10 hours or so, got in a little bit, got a good feel for it. I'm like, yep, this is solid, this is fun. Doesn't quite have the X factor for me. I'm going to put it down for now and finish P5. So, because I was very much enjoying the story of Persona 5 Tactica, so I went back to that. But I will come back to Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think it picks up a little bit after a while. I definitely am bought in on any Dragon Quest game from the jump.
Gotta get those slimes.
Yeah, but like I think
A lot of slime.
it definitely kind of starts a little slow. The game itself moves kind of slow, and that was definitely an adjustment. But yeah, I think it definitely picks up and does a thing I have deeply mixed feelings about later on, but that's a conversation for another time.
That's a much later conversation, unfortunately.
Also, December does not exist according to Nintendo.
Oh!
There we go.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy. January to November, and that's it.
Wow. That's wild, but hey.
Nintendo says video games are cancelled for December. Go outside, you heathen.
Yeah.
Like we put Mario RPG out, and we're done. The year has ended.
Siggy Liam says, well, that's not a glaring oversight or anything. Yeah, you think?
No, it's nothing.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But, Nintendo is very litigious, and they just decided they're not having this December nonsense anymore.
True.
The only thing children care about more than Pikachu is Christmas, and now that's over. Nintendo's not playing second fiddle to anyone.
Oh,
oh boy.
Anyways, this has been a hell of an episode, and it's not even over yet.
No, we still got time.
We still do have time. Kris, was there anything that you wanted to talk about right very now, as I say to my daughter? Grammatically incorrectly, but I find it very fun.
Well, two options, I suppose. I got Rogue Trader or Persona 5 Tactica, probably to talk about most. So what do you want to hear?
Let's go with Persona 5 Tactica.
All right, so I've been chipping away at this a little bit. As I mentioned, the first week I mentioned it, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. Story's kind of but gameplay is solid, simple, effective. Second week I came back and said I did the story a disservice. It is quite good. I just went at it from the wrong angle. And here I am to say the story continues to get good, but now I have a major issue with it.
No.
And I'm nearing the end. I don't know how much longer there is, but it's sort of like, if I compare it to Persona 5, you both played through Persona 5. Did you finish at least the base? So basically, I
finished Persona 5 and Platinumed Royal when I reviewed it for the show.
Yeah. So effectively, I've beaten Shido, and now the boss of Mementos has shown up. So that's where I'm at, kind of plot-wise and such. I don't know how long that will be in terms of missions. I thought I was doing the final boss last night. It felt like a very good narrative conclusion thing, etc. But there is apparently still more to go. So I'm like, all right, cool. But so that's 3 full kingdoms and lots of wild developments and big bombs of character development and lore and what is going on in this world. And it's all generally good. The issue I have is victim blaming. It does a lot of that.
Oh, God. Atlas.
The Sony team can't help themselves.
They can't help it. They really can't. They do this all the time. But
God, from trans stuff and just, gender identity stuff and just even stuff that
casual homophobia without even realizing
it's
all
just
that
like,
shit.
man, bro, can you?
So and I should clarify here, I don't necessarily know that victim blaming is the perfect word for it, but it's simply a case of, okay, the idea is effectively a character did a rebellion thing because this situation was really, really fucked up. Mm-hmm. And they stopped that really fucked up situation. Things did not improve. Certain things happened and lots of people started blaming them for doing the thing. And it's like, and then they're just always wallowing on this, and the mention of the person who perpetrated the shit that they stopped vanishes. It's like no one would blame Kamoshida after the point is the
They would be blaming
comparison
on or whatever.
And if the situation did not improve with the removal of Kamoshida, god damn it, On, why would you fight this? Blah 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 blah. That's the equivalent for P5 Tactica.
But is it putting that comment in the mouths of characters that we're supposed to find trustworthy?
No, and it's not necessarily the trustworthy thing, and I can at least excuse it because this is somebody working through the trauma of that, and that they are.
So maybe something comes later.
Yeah, and we are in their head effectively, like it's their palace. So again, they're working through a lot of it, and this is probably how they internalize it, how they have thought about that. But it's just, but then so much of it is just like so much of what the Phantom Thieves say in relation to that is not necessarily blaming it, but they're just kind of, it just feels very obvious to me to just go, yeah, but if you didn't, the fucked up shit would still be happening.
Yeah.
Really fucked up shit. Like, heinous shit. Blame the guy who did the fucked up shit in the first place and all the people who did not do anything about that, rather than you, the one who finally stopped the issue when it went too far and then could not immediately institute a new world order and fix everything. So fucking of course not, right?
Yeah.
So
it's also unfortunate that also echoes like some like political discourse that's going on in America right now, which is just like there's people who are like, hey, if you want to burn stuff down and you don't have a plan for like how to replace it with something better, then like shut up. And it's just like, well, but that's not like that is status quo. That if the status quo is not working, the status quo needs to go. Yeah.
If the systems that empower that are not working, they also need to go. It's a problem, and I get that it's a big scary ask, but like it's just a case of, especially in a story which is effectively draped in, themes of rebellion and revolution and everything like that. It's like, yeah, rock the boat, but don't rock it too hard.
Yeah.
We don't want to shake it too hard, though. We like it here. So, Atlas, guys, come on.
Yeah.
So this is just a problem they have in general with their stuff, and it continues here, sadly. But for all that, everything else about it, the personal stuff, is still pretty good. It's just that really kind of hit a snag, and I was really getting on board, and then that happened. I'm like,
yeah.
So we'll see how it lands. But
yeah, I'm interested to see if they
carved off there.
I mean, hey, the good news is that if they land it, that'd be the first time.
Yeah.
At least that I can remember. I know a lot of people, hold up different entries in the series as being the best. I definitely have my own pet version. And a lot of people got introduced with, to this whole series with 4, specifically with Golden, which like has its own issues. So I am curious. As somebody who does like,
a Persona 3 enjoyer.
Well, I mean, I was even going to go further and say, as somebody who really enjoys Catherine, and also when I originally played it, I took a different reading away from that than I think a lot of people did because I was not around for the discourse the first time. But
yeah, I thought the first iteration of it at least handled things decently well.
Yeah, I thought that it was pretty obvious that it was not it wasn't throwing shade on the person everybody made it sound like it was throwing shade at. It was throwing shade at like the in-group, which is like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. You guys know me. I tend to believe the best of people. But.
Yeah, and again, I was not part of the discourse originally, so I probably missed something. Forgive me if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, the aspects of that game did quite well, tackling more mature subjects and such. Less so with Full Body.
I think Full Body just kind of, swing and a miss. If you want to be generous.
For trying, but
I will say that I think the new endings that they introduced are fucking bonkers, which are just Like,
Yeah, accurate.
what?
Yep.
What? I did not have that on my bingo card. I will put it that way. Anyways,
That game
look.
goes some places. The cool thing is that,
Literally.
the team, the core Persona team, I think, is going to be different because I'm like they're words. The people who did 3, 4, 5, they're making that Metaphor game, and I'm pretty sure
which looks cool.
Yeah,
It does.
Whatever the dude's name is, the like executive producer or whoever is kind of calling the shots, I think he's out of Persona for the next one.
Do we know if they've like greenlit Persona 6? Like, it's an inevitability, of course, but like, do we know if that's currently being worked on, or?
I don't know if there's been anything like out loud yet, but
yeah, it's inevitable
that's
then. But yeah, they're probably working on Metaphor first, which again looks really good. I'm digging the art style they're putting down for that one, at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody knows the best Persona game is Shin Megami Tensei 3 anyway, so.
Yeah, or 4. Or 5. Those are all-
Katsura Hashino, yeah.
That was bait.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. Metaphor looks super good.
It does, but yeah, to sideline that again, just Persona 5 Tactica ultimately, gameplay wise, is solid, enjoyable. I'm, generally enjoy the parts of it, aside from that little bit, which made me go, but everything else, yeah, it's good. It's good, and yeah, won't eclipse like Persona 5 as a core, but it's a solid little side story and has some real high points. It's definitely, it's worth not sleeping on, I think. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right, it's time for me to hijack things.
All right.
Please do.
We're gonna talk about Alan Wake. Because over the past week, had I started Alan Wake 1?
I feel like you might have done the first episode of it, as it were.
Okay.
I don't know if you talked about it on the podcast last time, but you had definitely, probably at least. Either way, you basically blitzed through it in this week.
Yes. So since the last time we recorded, I have played all of Alan Wake Remastered, and I've played through the first 4 chapters of Alan Wake 2, and I watched an 1.5-hour video on YouTube about summarizing all of the extraneous stuff. Yeah, Undead Nightmare, the DLCs for
Undead Nightmare or American Nightmare?
Oh, American Nightmare. Yeah, we're talking about Red Dead.
Red Dead, yeah.
Yeah, it
I
is.
always get the wires crossed.
Yeah, so that, and then the DLC, which is the DLC for Alan Wake 1, which is The Writer and The Signal. So I could not figure out, and honestly didn't want to bother with doing the DLC. I just really wanted to get to Alan Wake 2, so I just watched the video for those. And I'm glad I did, because there are some things, some mechanics and stuff that showed up in those that I'm like, I feel like that would have been annoying. Maybe it wouldn't have, but I'm happy to skip it and just go straight to 2. And obviously I had already played Control, and I'd also played the AWE DLC, which is Alan Wake connected. So the first Alan Wake thing I actually ever played was Control DLC. It's a hell of a drug. So I played through Alan Wake 1, played through the first chapter of that, and then went over to my brother-in-law's house, and he actually had the remastered version for PS5. So I borrowed that, played through all of that. I'm really glad I did that, because the game looks way better on the remastered version. I felt like it controlled super smoothly on the PS5. Surprising, probably nobody, considering I think this was originally a 360 and PS3 game.
Yeah, it's a while back.
But yeah, I really dig it. I think it is a good game. It also has a lot of not a lot of problems. It has a few problems that come up a lot.
Combat? Like lots of combat?
There is way too much fighting in this goddamn game. Like, way too much. There are way too many encounters. There are way too many enemies in each of these encounters. I literally had one moment when I was going through one section at a power plant, and there's like electrical wires or something like that that are surrounding you. And if you get bumped into them even a little bit, you take a bunch of damage. And there's a time when you have to walk through a very narrow walkway. And I'm like, don't you dare. Don't you dare make me fight in this narrow walkway with electrical like transformers on every side. And I walked in.
Guess what happened next?
I bet you won't guess. It went, and then a guy stepped out of the shadows in front of me and behind me. And I was like, fuck you, Remedy. Fuck you. There is a lot of nonsense in this game. One, you have a dodge, and the dodge is horseshit. I talked to Will about this. He disagrees. It's bad. It's bad. I've played many games with dodges. This dodge, it feels like you have to... It feels like it's a dodge, but it's a dodge with no invincibility whatsoever. So you literally have to dodge in whatever way is not going to interact in any way with their big, huge axe swings that sweep all around. And surprise...
Special.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. It happens all the time. It happens all the time where I'll literally be dodging away from somebody and they'll like hit me in the head with the axe or something. And I was just like, now I was playing on easy because I do not care about challenging myself with this game. I just wanted to experience the story. And even still, I died like a handful of times in this game just because they threw so many enemies at you. They would throw so much stuff. And there are also sections where there will be like instant deaths, where like you'll be running across some place and like the floor will just like collapse out from under you or something. Now, there's a little bit of like a visual lead time, but when you're in a full-on sprint, you don't have time to react to it. So, or like there would be something where like some section would fall through and then I'm like, I don't understand how I like get to the next area. Oh, I need to take a running jump, and I just missed it like 3 times, which means I had to do the past like 30 seconds of dodging through a bunch of horse shit in order to get to that place to do another attempt, which is just like not great. I feel like you could have taken out like maybe a third of this game, and it would have been so much better, which is crazy because this game is like 6 to 8 hours, and I feel like it is still padded to all hell. And like I, for one, like
that might just be a style of the time, you know, just
sure.
The era. It's like, you don't want a really short narrative focused game like that. We got to fill it out with more encounters. We got to give people the bang for the buck. It was still that era before we accepted, oh, by the way, short game's good though.
Sure. But also like Gears of War also existed at the time. And like that game had like a good number of encounters, but the gameplay was super tight and fun. And
that is true.
That
is the key difference. I'm sure.
And that is not the case here. Now, I do think that the gunplay and the shadow mechanics are like fun. Like it is cool to run around. I felt like the guns felt pretty good generally. I hated the like pump action shotgun. I thought that was just garbage. I think the hunter's rifle is probably just my favorite weapon in that game. And I love that it basically operates as just like a slightly more powerful shotgun. Which is funny because I thought they were going to have me do like sniper type shit like from Metal Gear, and I was like dreading it. But no, it's just a really awesome, powerful, like almost DMR style weapon. And it's all in third person, all that sort of stuff. You can get multiple flashlights that you use to like shine the shadows off of things. But the real thing that kept pulling me forward in spite of all this is the writing and the story. And that is where this game hits. And that is its strength. And that is why I really am glad. I'm never going to play this game again in my life. Ever. But
you're glad you experienced it.
I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I played it. Because there is something to be said for the way that you wander around and find the manuscript pages in the world. And then as you realize what is happening and the story kind of reveals piece by piece, like why these things are the way that they are, and the way that even knowing what I know about this universe and about these characters from playing Control first, which can subvert some of like what's going on with this game, the fact that even knowing all of that, they still had me second guessing some stuff is a testament to like how well put together this game is. And that is high praise, and I will not take that away from Remedy. And you're not going to get that. And I know you're not going to get that because I watched the YouTube video with the summary of these games afterwards. Even in like an hour and a half long video, you're not going to get that same impact from finding these things, piecing this together on your own. If you watched a full play, maybe, but you know, what are you going to do? But I am really glad that I played that, because going forward and firing up Alan Wake 2, that stuff played into it immediately. And not just the stuff from Alan Wake 1, but also the stuff from Control, and also the stuff from the various DLCs. So like, you know, there were some people who were like, yeah, you don't need to do American Nightmare. And like, there's very direct references to stuff that happened in American Nightmare in Alan Wake 2. And I'm really glad. So definitely you do not have to play them, but you definitely should watch something about them if you have not, because I feel like you need to see like those story moments like play out and different stuff like that. But yeah, Alan Wake 2, totally different beast. Like it is, you know,
total genre shift by the sound of it.
Yes. I was talking to Will, and I was like, I was getting I think I was getting towards the end of Alan Wake Remastered, and I was like, I don't know how you don't think this is a horror game. Like, they're very obviously doing like jump scares or like making super sinister environments and like making you feel hemmed in, and like there's a lot of stuff going on in the cinematics and stuff. And he's just like, it's an action game with horror elements. Because originally I was thinking of it as a thriller. And I feel like you can put both of those labels on that game, but also there is quite a bit of the state of the art at the time type of situation. And not state of the art in the way that tech bros have co-opted it, but like state of the art being like the situation on the ground. But Alan Wake 2 starts and it's, you know, a mile a minute, not action wise, but like story wise.
Yeah.
Like it starts immediately. It hits the ground running with like the implications of what is happening right now are like nuts and awesome. And I love it. I love Saga is one of the new characters. You know, she's one of the main new characters. And unfortunately, there is another character, Alex Casey, whose voice actor actually just died of cancer, which is really, really sad.
About that. It was very sad.
Because he is crushing this. And like, I'm literally in the middle of playing this game that he is a huge part of. And he just crushed it. He's nailed it. They've added a bunch of new mechanics. They've added like, different types of power-ups that you can get. There's different mechanics. You don't just control one character, you control more than one character. The way that you interact with the world is like completely different from anything that came before. And it is straight up like almost a Dead Space like horror game. Like over the shoulder.
Totally survival horror as the genre of gameplay, yes.
Yes. And I gotta say, it made a very strong, visceral impression when I first started it up and was playing the first section and then seeing like the first cinematic and stuff. One that made me a little uncomfortable, if I'm being honest. But after that, everything has been just awesome. Like, there have been like nice, like really interesting little nods and touches based off of my knowledge of Control and of Alan Wake and of experiencing, this other stuff. Being able to engage with it, with this game, this sequel, and see like what I don't know if this is what they wanted to do with the first game, but the fact that this is what they want to do with this one is like so awesome. Like, looking at a game with this level of polish, with this level of environmental detail, like with this level of graphical fidelity and all this sort of stuff, and knowing that this game was made for a fraction of what a lot of like first-party PlayStation exclusives are made for and stuff like that. Like, in the same way that like Control was on a $50 million budget, and that was my game of the year that it came out, because it's just awesome.
It looks and plays really well.
And it's got a really interesting story and a lot of weird mind-bendy stuff to get into. And this is that again, except you sub out the action for way more like cerebral, what the hell is going on, piece together a mystery. They put you, a lot of people have talked about like certain games making you feel like Batman. Like, this is I am Charlie by the fucking whiteboard, in this game. Like, they are.
Who is Pepe Silvia? Yeah.
Who is Pepe? I got boxes of Pepe. But yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's fantastic. I cannot wait to play more of it. The only reason I have not played more of it is because I just started playing Diablo IV, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But yeah, it's awesome. I definitely understand why people are pushing for Alan Wake being like one of the best games of the year. It's absolutely there. And I think that if we're looking at just
to get to it myself,
I think pound for pound, if we're looking at just AAA games, it's hard for me to think of a better like complete package that delivers on both the technical side and the like game
vision side,
like game ass game, like idea side than this. And I'm really interested to see what finishing this game does to my thoughts of this year as a whole, because I feel like we do have really mechanically forward-thinking games like Zelda and, like, to a different extent and a different degree, Baldur's Gate. And then we have like super polished AAA experiences that are just fun as hell, like Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man's not going to win any awards from story, but like that game is fun as shit to play. And then we've got all of these like really creative and awesome indie games, but they don't have the budget to do something like super nuts. And seeing like all of those different things that I liked from all of these different games, like kind of coming together in Alan Wake 2 is like pretty nuts. Like, obviously you don't have the freedom that you do in like Zelda or Baldur's Gate or, stuff like that. But it's really interesting to have this be one of the last AAA games that I play this year and have it be like so thoroughly delivering on like so many fronts. It's kind of nuts. But anyways, I feel like
a hell of a time.
I feel like that's about as much as I can say without actually getting into spoilers. And I really just wanted to give my initial impressions. So,
well, I'm glad you did, because again, I've been keen to hear this, and I want to hear more from you and Will and anyone else when they get to it.
Yeah.
Because in time, I will get to it. I tend not to get anything that's on the Epic Store at the moment, and I'll probably have to just bite the bullet on this one because, but we'll see if I have the time. But yeah, I want to hear more, definitely.
And I should add whether this will be a caveat or whether this will be an extra plaudit that you add to this game is I'm not a horror guy. So like the fact that it's getting me I don't know, that maybe that's
not your genre of choice, but you're still just like, I got to see this through.
Yeah.
That's that's a high bar to read.
I am a sucker. And it's also, I was talking to Will. Hey, Will, mention again. I was talking to Will about this because this is also like, there's like a theme where this year's games are I feel like I'm being catered to in a very beautiful and wonderful way, where like Goodbye Volcano High is about a singer. Alfil Valentine was just added to Guilty Gear. She's a singer now, whereas she wasn't before, so now she's a singer. And then I've also played several games this year that are about being a writer. And it's just hello, thank you, game developers. Representation matters, and I really appreciate you guys being considerate and making games specifically about me and my experience that are very much speaking to me. This is one of my favorite years in gaming. Like, I gotta say, from this standpoint. Just from that alone. I'm having a lot of powerful experiences. And in Venba, like with the family aspect, it's just like, there's a lot of greatness going around. You should catch you some.
Yeah, given the peak fine comments.
3 came out.
Yeah.
Because you're just so cool and you feel represented.
That's right. Just playing a big old sick freak.
Big old
suplex.
He's just like me, for real.
Yeah.
big old cool pervert. There you go.
Boy.
Travis touchdown, baby.
Yeah. King.
Yeah,
so
he's cool.
Oh, what a time.
I played a little bit of Alan Wake 2 just to like check the intro out. Like my biggest hang up is like I played Alan Wake and I played Control, but they're just like so not fresh in my mind that like I feel like I'm not making the connections even though I played those games. I'm worried if I'm like, do I need to go back and refresh or
here?
Have I missed something?
So I will send you, if you don't mind watching, I will send you the video that I watched because I thought it actually did a really good job.
Okay.
Summarizing things. I'll need to actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me look that up real quick and then I'll just give it a shout out because like it did help me. It's going to take me a while to scroll
back. Watching that as well because it's been a while since I played Control. I didn't play it when it launched, but I did play it after the fact. And little bits and pieces of it stick with me, but not all the details. I know there's certain nods that will pop up, and I'm like, I know that, but not everything in that is fresh in my mind. I'll never forget the ashtray maze, though. Holy shit.
I feel like the only thing I remember from American Nightmare is the sequence where the satellite's crashing and that goofy song is playing. It happens like 50 times.
Yeah.
I just don't remember anything else.
Okay. I'm trying to make sure this is like the right one and not that I just like hovered over it. Oh my God. I watched so much YouTube, you guys. I watch so much long form YouTube.
Me too.
I tweeted this out.
There's a long discussion.
I said I'd like to thank you to all the plagiarists who inadvertently got me introduced to H Bomber Guy because I've been watching H Bomber Guy videos since then, and I'd never seen
H Bomber Guy's great. I still haven't watched the plagiarism one, but his stuff is excellent. So
yeah. But yeah, it was it was awesome. So okay, so the one that I watched is Suggestive Gaming. So it is Alan Wake and Control: The Complete Timeline (parentheses what you need to know to play Alan Wake 2). So it went up like 2 months ago. It's got 360K views. I found it really good, and they also have timestamps. So. And they timestamp every single piece of content. So like, and they do it in the timeline order. Mm-hmm. So like,
okay.
So like they start and like the first thing that they do is like
the early days of like Control's establishment and such, or
yeah, like so they do the stuff that took place in Ordinary, which takes place like really early in the timeline. I think Old Gods of Asgard takes place before that. Or no. They start with Tom, actually. So they start with Tom, and then it's Old Gods of Asgard, and then it's the ordinary event, and then it just keeps going from there, and it just goes through everything, and it summarizes Alan Wake. I think like a YouTube series that they did with Alan Wake as well, which doesn't have a ton to do with it, but it was a very interesting, Bright Falls web series.
Yeah.
Which is like a really cool tone piece that I didn't know anything about, that I was like not expecting, but also like it's more color for Bright Falls, which is great.
It makes me think of the one they did for Soma.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got all of that. It's got all of Alan Wake, and then it's got the DLCs for that, the expansion, and then Control and the expansions to that. And then it ends with like some introduction to Alan Wake 2, which I don't know where they got that from. Maybe it was like a trailer or something, or like a intro video or something, but yeah, I found it super, super helpful. So go check out that suggestive gaming video. I found that.
Can you
really,
drop
really
a
good.
link in the chat? I would love to pick that up.
Yeah. I'll definitely do that. But yeah, I found that it's an hour and 38 minutes long. I found it super, super helpful. And I can include a link to that in the show notes on YouTube if people like. So then they can just, whether they want to just jump into Alan Wake 2 or whether they want to like just skip something, then that is there for them.
Get refreshers on things, etc.
Yeah. Or in Lucas's case, like it's just been a minute and you need to refresh. Because I definitely found the fact that I played Alan Wake right before Alan Wake 2 helped a lot, because they would name check certain characters and I'm like, I know exactly who that is. I know exactly what this person's about. And that's how it starts. Like it starts, the Alan Wake 2 starts with a reference to a character that you have met previously. So it's important to have that context because it helps a lot with all the stuff. And they don't really explain a lot. They explain a bit of it, but they don't like really flesh it out in Alan Wake 2. So anyways, cool. But there you go.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's the one, like that, apart from like just playing with former Platformers host Joshua Mobley. I've been playing Diablo 4 with him and doing the season stuff. So he's been like power leveling me through. I'm playing a chain lightning wizard. Now I'm just having a ball.
It's still a solid, enjoyable game.
Yeah.
Like we gave it the time in, our long form spoiler cast thing.
We did.
It, and I still rate that game quite highly. The seasonal stuff hasn't really clicked for me as much. And so when it's just in terms of raw, I just want to fuck around with this gameplay, I will go play Path of Exile instead. But like, I'll probably end up revisiting the game like for the campaign and then to do the expansion whenever that drops. So yeah.
I do think it is interesting how the season's journey and the people who have kind of played it for a while feel about it, because it seems like there were some missteps early on and now they've largely all been fixed.
Season 1 was a bit of a misstep, I hear, or what I played of. And then season 2, I hear, is touched up in those regards a lot.
Yeah, so
but I have not gone back to it yet. So
I'm coming back, and like previously when I finished the game and finished the I didn't people who watch the long form review and deep dive will know I didn't do the post game. I just reviewed the main campaign and then stopped there. And I think my necromancer was like level 44. So now I just hit level 60 with my sorcerer today. And when you start up a seasonal character, you can just skip the campaign and then just go straight to the seasonal stuff. And it's all got vampire themes and stuff, so you get vampiric powers. Every 5 minutes, I am running into a mechanic that I know nothing about, that I have to ask somebody, like, what the hell is this? What is going on here? But once you kind of get initiated into that, I feel like it is fun, and I dig it. And I've started to get, like, my build into a position where I feel really comfortable. It feels pretty powerful. And I'm excited about that. And the fact that I do know people who are going into it, who are playing it, and I can just kind of like jump in. And like earlier today, I still got the tab open. I was going around and picking up all the altars of Lilith, which I know that Will went through and had to actually find all of those.
Yeah, most of the guides come from him, so shout outs again to Will. I used his work for that.
Yeah, so I'm using those right now, but it's like, it's just cool. Just pop on a podcast and just like kind of vibe, walk on the treadmill, play the game for a little bit. That's been fun, and it's been nice to also like have something that I know people who are jumping in either every night or like most nights, and I can just be like, hey guys, what's going on? You know, and I only just started. This is only like my second day playing it, but it's been nice to have that. Yeah, but also it's taking me away from Alan Wake 2, which is a problem. But
hell yeah.
Anyways, did anybody have anything else? Kris, I know you had one thing. I don't know if Lucas had anything else, but I know we're also going a little bit long, so I would not blame anybody if they wanted to jet out early.
I do still want to talk about Rogue Trader, but if there's anything you've got, Lucas, hit us up first.
Yeah, something I was thinking about mentioning or not. This is more of a like, I don't know, silly thing, but I like to, when I can, collect limited run stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they do good work. Yeah.
Full disclosure, I've worked with them, so take that, whatever. But I recently completed a couple of sets for it. For some stuff they've been putting out, and I'm super excited about it. I just thought it'd be neat to show. So I've got the River City Girls.
Hey. Oh, hey! I have the
0, 1, and 2.
Yeah, I have the Switch version of the PAX West exclusive River City Girls 2.
Yeah, I haven't decided if I want to try to track down. They put like a box out that you can put these in, but
yeah,
that's probably not smart to try and buy secondhand. Yeah, it took me like a really long time to get a hold of this because I missed the pre-order, and I finally got it, and now I'm just like,
nice.
Have the collection.
Really,
have the power.
Yeah, just really love like what the WayForward and ArcSys have done with the like River City Double Dragon like mythos, I guess, universe. They've kind of like smushed it all together and in really fun ways.
And Soul Bad Guy from Guilty Gear is in that game.
It's true.
Awesome.
Which is crazy. I have not played it yet, but I know he's in it, which is why I bought it.
Yeah, Arc System Works getting a hold of Double Dragon and Kunio-kun is like the best acquisition, I think, in modern game.
And WayForward does extremely good work, so I've had fun with those when I played them too.
And I think, Kris, Jam might be in the game also.
I think you are correct, yes.
That's cool.
Which makes her, still absent in Strive.
She's coming. Daisuke has said he wants to include every character. She's coming. Now, I don't know if she's coming before my girl Abba, but, I just got Elfelt, so I really don't have any more horses in this race, other than, like, just a little bit of Abba. Just a little bit.
Abba would be cool. It would make so much sense to have Abba in there.
Yeah. I gotta smooch. I gotta smooch my big.
I would love Justice to be in there.
Yeah, give me Cliff. Where I got son of a bitch? God damn it, Lucas! Lucas and I sharing a brain cell over here. We want Cliff Anderson. I want to be a real degenerate with a giant meat cleaver.
We need more good old men in fighting games.
What about that? What about that? What is it? The giant gear that's being piloted by like a dog. That's being piloted by like a robot or something like that.
Oh my god! I
don't know about a dog. There's a character in Exod, and it's a Korean name. I can't remember, but it's like a robot suit of a big dude, which is powered by a little girl.
Haehoon, yeah, Come Haehoon.
That's the one. Yeah, couldn't remember the actual name. I keep mistaking him for Raven for some reason, even though it's not.
Yeah,
it's completely different.
So much love for Guilty Gear.
Watch, the next character they're going to bring isn't going to be any of these characters. It's going to be fucking Answer or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. Here's RoboKai.
Although I would not... Dude, people love RoboKai. I don't.
RoboKai.
I think the people who love RoboKai are straight up degenerates, but, far be it...
But he's sick.
Far be it from me. I like him as a person, but come on. He's also a pervert. Come on. And you are too if you like him. Let me just lump everybody in. The RoboKai fan community is a monolith. It's the only people group that is, and they're all perverts. All of them.
More degenerate than Sonic fans.
It's very true. Oh my God. Speaking of which, I saw a meme about Sonic that I need to send you guys after the show because I'm not talking about it on the show.
Oh God.
But yeah. Anyways.
That's cool though. I'm still working on River City Girls 1. I just really wanted to get the sets because I just love what they've done with them. The other one is Castlevania.
Oh, wait. Okay, hold these up. Hold up.
All right. So So this is the steelbook for the anniversary collection.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like Rondo of Blood or something for a second.
Yeah. So I had actual like income when this came out, so I was able to get the fancy one.
Very nice.
And then this one I tracked down on Best Buy because Best Buy randomly has limited run stuff sometimes, and I missed the pre-order of this because I no longer had income. But here's Requiem, so it's
nice.
Symphony and Rondo.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Rondo the best one. And then recently I was able to actually catch a pre-order, so I got the Advanced Collection.
Nice.
Lovely.
And,
I need to do that.
Real Sorrow, which is
I had
great.
to get the juiced cover because
Of course.
there's too many juiced haters out in the world.
I
I
need
get
to
that.
talk to you
It's
about
fine.
how much you paid for all these because like you got a lot of stuff that I would be interested in getting as well. But
Yeah, so the problem with limited run stuff is that if you miss the
It is
pre-order,
limited run.
the price skyrockets.
I am unfortunately in the position where I missed I was really excited about the Analog Pocket limited colors. I wanted to get the yellow one because I had a yellow Game Boy growing up, and it was sold out before I even realized it was on sale. And
I hate when that stuff happens.
And I don't know that they're doing another one,
I have no idea.
but I have a tiny amount of hope because there are other ones that I would have been interested in, like the Super NT, where they're just like final run, sold out. And they say sold out on the limited edition one, but they didn't say final run, but also it's limited edition. So I don't know.
I know.
I'm debating like trying to like flip some stuff that I bought that's rare or limited, like a limited run type stuff, not from them themselves, but maybe trying to flip that into getting like a new one of those, because I'm just like, man, that was one of those things where like it came and went and I didn't realize how badly I wanted it until it was gone. And then I was like kind of gutted. And I was like, then I looked at like the regular gray, black, or white Analog Pockets, and I was like, I feel nothing for you. Like,
yeah, actually, I got a black one, and then that was like right before they announced the color one, so I was just kind of like, man,
yeah,
what a bummer.
yeah,
But the cool thing about limited run nowadays is like they used to do those things where it was like, oh, you weren't there for the 5 minutes, it was available.
yeah,
Tough luck. They do a lot of open pre-orders now, so it's just like we're selling it until this date. That's the cutoff, but until then, we'll sell as many as people want to buy.
nice. That's really cool.
Yeah, they get the sales numbers before they go to production. So.
Yeah, and it takes a
Basically how
long
board games do
time
it.
for the stuff to come out. It can take a year, but like if you know that going in, it's like it's a fun. It's like I'll see this when it comes out.
Yeah, I know I'm eventually going to want this.
Yeah, so it's not like, oh shit, I forgot I ordered this. There's, whatever amount of money. It's like they take your money up front, and then it shows up when it's ready. And usually, like, if you don't want the special editions that come with all the extra bullshit, the game's not going to be more than $40 usually, which is nice. Yeah. So yeah, there have been a handful of controversies with limited run. And again, I've worked with them, so take this with a grain of salt. But just as someone who buys stuff from them as well, I've always enjoyed like what showed up. So
nice.
Yeah, I can't do a ton of these, but whenever it's like, oh, there's like a set of something I really love, Castlevania. Yeah. I'll try to cop the whole thing. And it feels good when you get to the last one and it's like set.
Yeah.
So the set bonus is intact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I got
also of the mind that like having, you've got all these on PlayStation. Like I'm kind of like, man, part of me wants to like have like the essentials, like getting like I was actually just thinking earlier today about like I would love to get like the collection of like Mega Man Legacy collections and like all of those sorts of games like all on like PS4, PS5.
So you just have the full
Like
library box.
physical, so it's just like Mega Man, like because like I love Mega Man. I grew up loving Mega Man, specifically loving Mega Man X, and then like I was playing on my SNES Classic and playing Mega Man on there, and my daughter is just like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "It's Mega Man." And I told her about Mega Man, and I forget which one it was. It's like X3 or something like that. That was the one that she picked to play. And I'm just like,
oh no,
girl, you nuts. And so
Wait,
then
don't do that.
like the section where like Zero comes in, she's like, who is that? I'm like, yeah, babe, we all feel the same way.
Welcome. You are one of us now.
That's Zero, and he's the man. He's awesome. And then I forget what it was. I actually wrote this down where she said something, and it was just like, hold on. I'm actually gonna look this up because like I have this document where I keep like
nerdy shit your child has said.
Yeah, or even just let me see where it is. 00000. Damn it! Did I not put it in here? She said something like he was charging up and he was changing colors, and she said something to the effect of like, you can tell he's serious now because he's pink, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I was just like, you're damn right, baby. You're damn right.
Means business.
He means business. He's going to give it to you with both barrels, and then you're going to get the sword. Anyways.
That's awesome.
Like Vegeta with the pink shirt. Shit's about to go down.
Yeah. Yep. It's
Mega
real
Man's so
serious.
awesome. It's so sad that Mega Man just doesn't do as well as people think he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly because like I want Mega Man 12. 11 was good.
Yeah.
I don't understand what people want. Like
I always feel
like
like
this weird
it's so
vision of Mega Man they have in their head that doesn't quite exist. And then Mega Man comes out and it's Mega Man. They're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. Like,
and it's like, well, then why do you? Yeah.
Why are you here? Yeah, we wanted this. I'll play 30XX until then because it's the best I got. But
and
weird.
like, I am thankful. It is kind of a monkey's paw situation with me, where like with Metroid, where it's like Metroid is really popular, but like it also isn't exactly great in the ways that I like Metroid to be great. Like Mercury Steam has made good Metroid games, but they're not, it's like when people really,
Metroid.
yeah, it's like,
I consider them Metroid, but the problem is there is a big difference between what people picture Metroid as and what Super Metroid is.
yes.
It's
Super Metroid is the platonic
atmospheric
ideal,
adventure.
and people don't seem to be even interested in trying to replicate that. They just want to do, let me give you linear with an illusion that it is actually more open than it is. And that bothers me.
Yeah,
And-
and focus more on having, cool action moments and such like that, which are good.
Yeah.
They're all good, but it's like, again, Super did so much with so little.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else like it even in that franchise, even in, the best of ones like Prime and whatever. It's like, they ain't Super.
Yeah.
Dread is great. I love Dread. It's not Super.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel, with that franchise as well, where it's just like, it's like Mega Man has not had that Dread moment where it's become like really successful.
Where it just got a sudden one which actually met commercial success in addition to critical and player response.
Or even like
Dread appealed to everybody in that regard. And
Yeah.
did well. Mega Man has never.
which is wild because
Never
it's
quite to that level.
it's hard. It's harder than most Metroid games, I would say, unless you're going into the older ones like Metroid 1, which like game's fucking really hard. But the thing for me is like more the, like Lucas was talking about, the mismatch between between the iconic nature of the franchise and the consumer perception of the prestige of it and the actual success, where it's just like, you take any one, I forget what it was. Somebody was putting one example, and it was like the worst selling God of War game sold more than every Metroid game that's ever come out combined, or something. It was something like that, where it was just like
mismatch in some of these is insane. Like, I don't even know. There was a recent one. It's something like, the Street Fighter 6 only sold like a couple million or whatever, and that's by far the most successful Street Fighter. I'm just like, what? The average Call of Duty sells like 5 times that. It's insane.
Or Guilty Gear Strive. Guilty Gear Strive is the Metroid Dread of Guilty Gear. This is by far the most popular, and I think it's only sold like 5 million or something like that. I mean, maybe it might be less. I'm trying to remember, because I know that DBFZ has done over 8, which is like big for a fighting game, and that's why people paid attention when they came out with Strive Next. But I'm waiting for Mega Man.
They don't sell unless they're Mortal Kombat or Smash Bros, right?
But like, I'm waiting for, and I really want Mega Man to have that moment where like something comes out and it does that Dread thing where it's just like everybody just gets it and then they love it, and then I get more Mega Man. But it's the same with like every Metroidvania style game, like even Castlevania games. Like they pivoted to try to like rip off Dark Souls instead of trying to rip off Metroid like they were. And it's like, well, I'm less interested in this. Can you go back to doing like the advanced? Give me just another Soma Cruz game. Give me another.
The 2 he did of those were very good.
Yeah.
Really. Everything after that was very experimental and hit or miss.
Yeah.
Order of Ecclesia fucking rules. So.
Yes. That's, I think still that might be my favorite. So it's like,
I think we've had this discussion. We're like, this is, low key the best.
And it's like, dude, I would take another like Metroidvania, in the vein of Super Metroid specifically, or like Order of Ecclesia, or like the Soma Cruz games. Give me one of those and give me a Mega Man every year until I'm dead. Like, just do it. Just
turn that shit out. Give us bosses.
Just do it. Because those are games that actually support that, because they don't have to be super long. Like, don't do it like the 40-hour mega long like Metroid or Castlevania game. Make it like
you got 8 bosses with levels to match, and then a big challenge at the end with a gauntlet and a final boss.
And Mega Man is way more straightforward than that. The only thing you need are like ideas for the bosses and the stages.
And the weapons. It's about it.
Yeah. Come on, guys. It's easy. It's easy. I can make this in 5 minutes. I could not. That's a lie. That's a lie. Don't listen to this man.
I think I have to wonder if there's something at Capcom which they just kind of, after, Inafune departed and all that bullshit. Inafune? I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, he departed, all that bullshit happened, and, so much went wrong under his management that I feel like they've just kind of skirted away entirely from Mega Man and doing the way things did under him. And then, since then, they've just had hit after hit after hit after hit, and it's been great. Cap gods are cooking, but it's like, I just wonder if, Mega Man is just an unfortunate casualty where it was so tied up in that. So much of the recent stuff was done by Inti Creates and outsourced, so it's like...
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious about that, and I'm also curious if it's like a Japanese thing with like progenitors for a series, because Konami also has done that with Iga and with Kojima. So it's like they tried with Survive, but like they pretty much haven't done any Castlevania stuff since Iga left, and like Capcom has only done the one, which like was still good. Like, I'm surprised that Mega Man 11 is as good as it was, considering that he'd already left to make the ill-advised, Mighty Number
Proof
9.
that he's actually a fraud. Oh, okay.
Right. It's kind of a little of everything. Capcom definitely had a hard time recovering from the Inafune in charge years. especially like all that expansion to like Canada they did that ended
The
up
Western
like,
push was ill-advised and moved way too much away from what people liked about Capcom. When they went back, it went well. Funny that.
Yeah. So like Capcom like retreated all the way back to Japan like entirely in recent years, and like the Resident Evil and Monster Hunter stuff has gone really well for them and everything. But
That
like
is selling like gangbusters.
Mega Man sort of was like one of the big parts of struggle because like like everything they were trying just wasn't going well, and then like I think the guy who was like the producer or director or lead of some sort on 11 was like, yeah, we just didn't have anyone who was like stepping up to the plate to like take charge on a new Mega Man. Like nobody was like, I've got an idea. Yeah. Until he did it, and then it seemed to do pretty well. But at the same time,
what they need is a Sonic Mania situation where just the fans come in and do it, and they go, "Cool, you do that."
Yeah,
I mean, I will say,
also,
like,
they've seen a lot of success with the Legacy Collection stuff, so they've been beating that drum and doing it pretty well, I think. So I think they're still like they're still trying to like figure it out, I think. The only problem is like with Capcom and like the sort of scope it's operating at, figuring out is like, well, we'll throw this piece out and this piece out and this piece out.
They are AAA, even if they're
question mark.
Eastern, AAA, which tends to do a lot better than the Western ones.
And we may not be getting what we want on the Mega Man front, but Capcom is experiencing a resurgence and has been for quite some time. So, like they are hitting on all cylinders. I feel like the fact that Monster Hunter is like a cultural phenomenon in Japan
finally breached
international
with world. Like that was the big turning point for them, I think.
Yeah. So and those games sell like crazy, which means that they can kind of
sold something like 18 million in the first year. It's crazy number.
I think it is far and away the best selling Capcom game they've ever released. And that was definitely I think that there was one thing where they were talking about like Monster Hunter World sold more than every Street Fighter game put together or something like that. I forget. Or it sold more copies even than Street Fighter 2. I'm trying to remember how exactly they phrased it, but it was really interesting because I would have thought that like considering every variation of Street Fighter 2 that they released, that it would have sold more copies, but it didn't.
Something like Monster Hunter World and then like Resident Evil 5 are just two absurdly well-selling games. And then it's like everything else is just under those two.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not that they do bad, they just don't sell gangbusters like those ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, as of September...
Ghosts and Goblins back. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, as of September 2023, Monster Hunter World has sold 19 million units worldwide.
Yeah.
When including the Iceborne Master Edition of the game, the sales have surpassed 23.1 million.
Ooh, yeah. For Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Capcom's best-selling video game of all time.
Yeah.
Wild.
So
deserved. Great game. Love it. Yeah. But wild.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But also, like, I imagine like something like Monster Hunter. It just it lends itself to what a AAA game looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like Mega Man, I don't think you can make a AAA Mega Man in the same, like...
It can't look as glorious and grandiose as a big sweeping vista or the trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds, which is, the weather effects and the crowds of the little smaller ones and then flying around on that. You can't do that with a Mega Man reliably.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a spectacle thing for sure.
So like maybe they're trying to figure out what that could be.
I mean, I have an idea. I don't think you guys are going to like it.
Mega Man Act Zero.
I was going to say Biotic Commando Rearmed or whatever, whatever the 3D version of that was.
It wasn't bad, except in the ways that it was. Yeah. Wife one.
Well, yeah, like even then, like if they did like a Mega Man in that style, I think it would still be a hard sell. as like a triple A kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because like Bionic Commando Rearmed was like peak Xbox Live Arcade. Like, this is a cool downloadable title.
Yeah. And honestly, that's all I want. Like, it's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, I'm sure you could find a compelling angle for Mega Man to go into 3D, because you have to do 3D if it's going to be AAA, because it has to be 3D.
And they tried that and it went really badly. Like X7 was, yeah.
It has to be over the shoulder. You have to give Mega Man a son. You have to have, this tale about how redemption.
He has to walk through the area slowly and sadly. Yeah.
Violence is bad, and he has to carry his Reploid wife's body through the. Or maybe he was married to a human, and now they've got the first human Reploid.
The camera angle may not shift at any point.
It's a single cut, it's a single shot game. It's the emotional story about how Mega Man has to carry his wife's body to the summit of Wily's castle, because that was her final wish. And also it's about him coming to terms with the fact that like Wily also was very damaged and he shouldn't really take revenge on him. We could just keep going, just add more and more.
The more you do this, the more I want to go replay God of War 2018 or finish Ragnarok, either or.
I need to play the Valhalla DLC. I've heard it's exceptional.
I hear it's very good. Yeah, like I saw a clip of like one of the last scenes from it in terms of like the writing and delivery and such. It's like, oh, that's good shit. So they cook well with those. They definitely do. Ragnarok was just too much. It was too much of it, I think, is what drove me away from it, because they took a trilogy and compressed it down into 2 games for it. So it's like, it just feels a bit much. But very good when it's kicking. It's excellent.
If Capcom could pull a Hi-Fi Rush with Mega Man, that might be
that would be a great idea, actually.
Something on that scale.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell what Capcom can do. Like,
damn it! I can't believe with a very short sentence, Lucas, you just got me. You got me on board. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, no, that's Mega Man Rush.
And it would have Rush in it, of course.
Naturally.
Rush and throw Beat in there. I always liked Beat.
Is that the crow?
Is Beat a crow? He's a little like blue bird guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what bird he's meant to be, but he's a bird.
Yeah. He might be a bluebird. But yeah, that was the one.
He's a ball.
The one who popped his head open or whatever and just like dropped some stuff on you.
Yeah, you collect his letters and then he gives you something.
Like you're playing Tony Hawk.
Yeah. There you go. Mega Man skateboarding. That's what we need.
Oh my god. I'm ready.
I'm not. That would be great. I'd love it.
You could unlock Mega Man Stalker as a bonus.
Hell yeah.
Here's the secret, the real secret origins. One day, as sad as it will be, Tony Hawk's time will come. And I think by then we should be able to convert him into a robot. And this has all been a secret origin story for Mega Man. He was actually Mega Man. Dr. Light converted him Android 17 and 18 style into a skateboarder with unlimited energy, and he'll be able to do all the kickflips.
Hell yeah.
Tony Hawk, the Rock Man.
Tony Hawkman. Anyways. Tony Hawk's Jet Set Radio, says Sigilium. Which, yeah.
Sega can pull off a new Jet Set, then I think Capcom runs out of excuses.
That is true, and they are
I'm
doing...
very curious to see about what they do with that. And I mean, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk came out. It's good.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet. I need to get around to it, but it's good.
Is there anything else we wanted to get to before we sign off? I feel like a pitch for a AAA, very emotional retelling of Mega Man's story is a great way to end out, but I don't want to cut anybody off.
If I go into Rogue Trader, I'll be there for a while because it's a big, long CRPG, very ambitious and such. I'll simply say it's real good. It's buggy. It's real good. I'm getting to it. There'll be more to come.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess we'll just save that for next time.
Suppose so.
Oh, thank you both for being on this episode with me. This was a true delight.
It's a pleasure as always.
As it so very often is. Thank you all, listeners, viewers, lovers. I don't know.
Fighters.
You tell me. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Platformers. Jesus Christ. If
we
you
have gone off the rails.
If you have thoughts, we went off the rails with the first thing.
We went off the rails. We stayed off the rails. This is the most off-road episode we've ever done.
Speaking of Konami, Siggy Liam says, "Can love bloom in the Twitch chat?"
Maybe.
I submit that it can. If you've got thoughts, feedback, topic ideas, or you just want to chat with us, we love talking to you all. You can find me on Twitter at Ribnax and Blue Sky and Backlogged at Brian Barnett, as well as twitch.tv/Ribnax and youtube.com/Ribnax, where you can watch the show live or on VOD. If you want to see the stuff that I've been doing, you can check out IGN.com because my closed beta preview for Terraceland, the Tencent / Level Infinite / oh my god, I forgot the other developer who was working on it. Anyways, my preview for Terraceland is up right now. I played both the mobile versions of the game and the PC version of the game, and you can check out my video review. I tweeted it out earlier today on my Twitter, so you can find it there. Please check it out. I enjoyed doing this preview, and I hope that you like what I have to say about it. Or I hope that you find interesting what I have to say about it, because I think it fills an interesting space in the free-to-play game space and also in the mobile MMO space. So please check that out and hit me up if you want to chat. I review stuff on Backlogged, so check that out if you want to see what I'm getting up to as well. Kris, where can everybody find you?
Hey, I'm Kris Cornelius, aka Delphi. You can find me on most games as Delphi. That's EI, not IE. My website is at versusthebacklog.com, vsthebacklog.com, one word. And throwing a shout out as well to acclaimedvideogames.com, run by a friend of mine, which I have helped a little bit on the back end. That will be getting a big update soon as all the lists for this year come in, and it'll be interesting to see where we end up with that. So, yeah.
Nice.
Over to you, Lucas.
All right. You can find me on the socials as Hokuto no Lucas. Catch me at shacknews.com. That's where we recently published the Dragon Quest Monsters The Dark Prince review. And then I have a feature on Kemco RPGs, of all things, coming up on Nintendo Wire.
There are so many Kemco RPGs.
So many. Yeah, so that's what I've got cooking.
Good stuff. Well, if you like the show, please leave us a review or a like or a subscribe. Wherever you're at, do the things and tell people about it, because we don't advertise, which means that you're not going to see ads on this show, which means we need you to share the good word, if you please. Good sirs, madams, and everyone else.
A non-binary pal.
Exactly. I need to use that. That's a nice jingle.
Guys, gals, non-binary pal.
From everybody here at the Platformers, we hope you have a wonderful week and stay safe out there, because until next time, we are out.
Peace out, guys.